Our studio audience here, and welcome also to everybody watching around the world, around the country. My name is Dylan Bowman. I am one of the founders of Free Trail, a media company here in our sport, and part of the amazing broadcast team here for Black Canyon tomorrow. And I've been saying to everybody who I've interacted with here at the expo that I think this is probably the most competitive golden ticket race maybe of all time. And many of those characters, much of the talent in the field is sitting with us up here on stage. And before we get started, I also just want to extend a big thank you, gratitude to Jamil, Aravaipa, Matt, Chris. It's so amazing we get to sit here and talk about the sport, and even better that we get to watch the whole thing go down tomorrow. Gentlemen, I hope you're all feeling amazing. Maybe let's just go down the line quickly, just do a quick 20-second intro of who you are, where you're from, what brought you here to Black Canyon.
Hey everyone, my name's Tom Evans. I'm from the UK, and I'm here just to get a race against some of the best guys in the world in a very fast 100K, which you don't get to do very often in Europe.
My name's Anthony Casals. I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah, and I'm coming back to this race because it's as competitive as Dylan says it's any race around right now, and also last year it kind of pissed me off because I didn't do too well, so come back for that.
Howdy, my name's Ryan Miller. I'm from San Antonio, Texas, and I'm here just like these guys because this is one of the most competitive starting lines you can put yourself on in the U.S. and maybe even in the world, and I want to be back on the starting line at Western States. So, yeah.
Cole Watson, Sacramento, California. Never run Black Canyon, but have always loved racing in the desert. And like everybody has said, I mean, here for a competitive field and a shot to get a golden ticket.
I'm Ryan Roth, and I'm from Flagstaff, Arizona. And yeah, like everybody said, I'm here for the competition, and also I just really love the course. I love the trail through the desert. It's a great trail, so should be a fun day.
Thanks, guys, for the introduction. Tom, you flew all the way over here from your home in Europe, in the UK, to compete on American soil again. Last time I think you raced in the US, you were a podium finisher at Western States. You just were a podium finisher at UTMB. Obviously, two of those iconic races, bucket listers for any professional in the sport. Catch us up on what's been happening since UTMB, how you transition from a slow, hard, mountainous 100-miler to what is a fast, dry, not too hot, but warmer 100K here in Arizona.
Yeah, it's much hotter than the UK. I think post UTMB, I took a good amount of time off and then got married, which was really exciting. That was a huge highlight of the year, and then just slowly got back into training. Cross country in the UK is a big thing. It's different to the US. It's not fast. It's not on a golf course. It's muddy. It's hilly. So it's very, very different. So I did quite a bit of cross country in the UK before Christmas, and then just transitioning into some faster stuff now, and I'm fortunate enough to already have a place at Western States. For me, this was always going to be the plan to race here, and it's a great and a imperative part of the build up to be able to put some race tactics in and to test and see where I am before there's still enough time to make changes before Western States. Because for me, that's the really big goal of the year. So using this as hopefully a great stepping stone for that.
Talk a little bit more about the marriage thing, because I think this often is under-considered, the emotional impact of our lives on our performance. I remember I got married in 2017 and then had the best racing season of my career in 2018. And I draw that line directly that I was just high on life after an amazing experience in my marriage. Have you been feeling the similar emotional sentimentality, and has it positively benefited your training?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's just so nice to, I guess it's all throughout last year, it was just weighing on your mind, I hope we have a nice day. And everything's been incredible since. And Soph, my wife, is a triathlete. is in Australia at the moment, and then the time difference is ridiculous. It's actually quite good. She's almost she's pretty much a day ahead, minus a meal. So my dinner time's her lunchtime. But no, it's been amazing, and it was just the most special day. So a lot of people say like, oh yeah, it will be the best day of your life, but nothing will change. And for me, yes, it was the best day of my life, but so much has changed since for the better. And it's just been incredible.
Amazing. Congratulations. Anthony, you're back. You just alluded to the fact that last year's 5th place finish was not necessarily satisfying for you. Maybe tell us why that is the case and what you think you can improve tomorrow.
Last year when we ran, it was just I was just kind of felt a little bit off my game on terms of like tactical awareness. We just got the race started, and I'll blame Preston Cates. Me and him were joking around, just kind of talking with each other first 15 miles, just kind of catching up with each other a lot, and then before I knew it, I had no idea. Like Drew Hart already took off on us way earlier. I had no idea about that till like actually after the race was done that he left that early, and just like a little bit off the game. A few mistakes happened in the middle that I'd like to fix. And it was like the first time I've ever been to a desert race that didn't go well. So that was like kind of, I guess, made me a little bit more fiery kind of once I came out of it. I didn't think I was going to come back here right after that race. I was like, oh, that was a one and done thing. And then just later on in the year, I just thought, that one kind of made me mad, like to come back here and give another shot. And then as the start list started to get deeper and deeper, that's what really made me put my name in the hat, I guess.
Heck yeah. And it seems like you were able to get a nice tune-up race a couple of weeks ago in your home state of Utah. Maybe generally, how's your training going? I've been looking at your Stravas, or at least what you publish publicly. Yeah. It seems like you're in good form, and we all know when Anthony's in good form, he's as good as anybody. So maybe just talk about what you've been focusing on in training and how you're feeling generally.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good winter in Salt Lake, so not as much trials as I would like on like the day-to-day aspect, but sometimes get into the foothills on snow and then come back home and finish it up on a treadmill. But fortunate enough in Salt Lake, we're pretty close to very similar terrain to this, and I've headed down to St. George with some friends a couple of times, and got a few good 50K runs in there, and then also, like you alluded to, the 50K arches from Mad Moose events. I did that 3 weeks ago, just kind of more as a tune-up race. Been a while. Remember how to go through an aid station, fill up bottles real quick, and get out of them. Also, like sometimes when we're doing like a big training run like that, sometimes I think you're not gonna say this. You stop a lot more than you need to, but even if it's not a serious race, you kind of don't have that stopping point.
Maybe one last real quick one before we move on to Ryan. You mentioned True Heart's performance last year, which was, I think, one of the stories of the season, at least one of the surprises of the season. And for those who watched the broadcast last year, he took off early in the race, and everybody expected the peloton to catch up. Never happened. And so I think that may portend similar racing strategy out here this weekend. I'm wondering, as somebody who was in the field last year, what you thought about that strategy and how it might impact yours.
Well, like I said, I truly had no idea till 31 that anything like that had happened. At around 28 miles, I thought I was catching up to the next two guys, and as a spectator, I'm like, those are the front two guys, right? And they're like, no, there's two more. And then I got to 31 and found out he was 10 minutes in front of me, and I was like, what just happened? So I think it's it's a race where everybody says don't go out too hard, but history shows sometimes that works out. But it worked out for Matt Daniels a couple years back, but it's also been catastrophic for a lot of people. So you just got to race your own race, I guess. Be an interesting thing for us all to watch tomorrow. So fireworks galore, and you do have to take risks in this sport now in order to win a race like this, which True Heart exemplified last year. Mm-hmm. Ryan Miller, our resident Texan. Howdy. You were, speaking of Texas, you were down at Bandera not racing, but you were there observing. Oh, you did run.
I ran the 25K the second day.
The shorter race. But it gave you a great opportunity to have a front row seat to a high-level Golden Trail or golden ticket competition early in the season here. I'm wondering what you took away from just observing the Bandera race, a race you've won in the past, punching your ticket to Western States, and maybe any takeaways, learnings, things that are in the back of your head strategically as we approach the race tomorrow.
Yeah, well, number one, it was very fun holding Jamil's computer at a few aid stations, helping him and Leah get the broadcast going at the beginning. So they did an awesome job, and I'm excited that that's gonna be going on here. But main takeaway from seeing that golden ticket race and being able to just beat every aid station and see Courtney and Canyon and JP and all these guys come through and girls was that you got to stick your nose in it. Just like you said, the sport's getting more and more competitive. And I think I saw a tweet from Liam at Aid Station Fireball on Twitter. Great follow if you want ultra running stats. The last 5 years here, I believe he said only one person outside the top 5 or 6 earned a golden ticket or was in the top 2 at the end of the race in the last 5 or 6 years. And that was Scott Traer last year. So for everyone running, you better put yourself in the top 5 or 6 or else you're probably not going to have a shot. And I saw that at Bandera. The exact same thing happened there, and it's going to happen here too.
Amazing. I saw you post on Instagram that you're feeling basically better than ever right now. I'm wondering if you can expand on what you attribute that to, what the physical sensation is of being at the top of your game, and where your head's at going into tomorrow's race.
Yeah, so my wife and I welcomed our second-born son in August. So, yeah, just like Tom. Yeah, come on, everybody, let's go. She's back there, I think, nursing him right now, actually. But I finally, the last 2 to 3 months, have gotten over that sleep deprivation state. And coming out of that, well, when I won Bandera in 2021, I was also 6 months it was 6 months after becoming a dad for the first time. And so there was something about going through that sleep deprivation phase and then feeling fully recovered and rested and putting in a good few months of training that it felt really amazing. And my body has bounced back in a similar way here. So I've been putting in the work on the Bandera course in Texas, been putting in the hill work, and all the data is showing that I'm ready to go.
Heck yeah. Well, I had a son 6 months ago, and I've never been a worse runner in my whole life. So. Cole Watson, Sacramento, California. There's a saying in endurance sports that there's horses for courses, and I feel like this is sort of the perfect mix between speed and strength, and you sort of, I feel like, exemplify that in your skill set. How do you think about bringing your inherent capabilities as an athlete to this specific course? Where do you think your skill set matches up with it, and where do you think you may be vulnerable? Guys, don't listen to his answer on that part.
That's a great question. I appreciate that too. I think that doing a lot of training on the road, that eccentric loading that takes on your legs, the pounding will help out in the first half of the race. And then the climbing and everything, you got to have a good engine at the end. But what I've worked on the most, I've been close in a lot of these golden ticket races, but never sealed the deal. So it's just fatigue resistance type stuff. Thankfully, I don't think any of these climbs are as long as some of the ones that I've trained on to kind of overcompensate. So I don't think there'll be too much switching back and forth between hiking and running, which is something I've never really loved to do. But that's why I chose this course, because it seemed like there was a lot of running if you could keep the engine going late into the race.
So you alluded to the fact that you haven't been able to seal the deal at a golden ticket race. You were third at Javelina, another Aravaipa event in 2021, narrowly missing the ticket there. Talk about the significance of that overarching story in this weekend's race. And Tom already has his ticket into the race, but I'm assuming that the other 4 gentlemen, if they were to finish in the top 2, they would accept their tickets. Maybe how do you think about coming into a race that's a golden ticket competition, and what does that mean to you personally?
I mean, I've been close 3 times, a couple thirds and a 5th. I mean, that's why I choose these races. I don't race a lot in the year, kind of like Keely was mentioning. So I like to train for a long time, race once or twice, make it as big a splash as I can. And I've always liked to get the best out of myself by lining up against people like this. And I mean, I hope everybody is going for it. So that just helps us all get the best out of ourselves.
Fantastic. Ryan, fresh out of college. Ryan, you very much represent the next generation in the sport, and I think it would be at least entertaining for me to get a glimpse into what people like you, people of your generation, think about trail running at this point. You just graduated, I think, from Northern Arizona University, one of the best programs in the country. What is the sentiment among people of your generation about pursuing trail running more professionally as a career?
Yeah, you're exactly right. Like I am a lot younger than these guys up here. Like I have not reached the age of 30 yet. So it's definitely, I feel kind of just like wide-eyed, bushy-tailed, you know. But I think the appeal is just like the adventure of it. Coming from track and cross-country racing, it's just so much different from that kind of training. And for me, it's like I could run on the road or I could run on the trail. Like I'll choose the trail all day. And I know it's probably not like that for a lot of the guys that are still on the track. But for me, I don't think I had a career in track racing. So that's kind of what led me to the trails. And honestly, it's just been a lot of fun and a good change. And I have a lot to learn. I lack a lot of experience, but I'm excited to kind of go in with both feet and see what I can do.
Amazing. So expanding on the lack of experience, of course, that's part of being youthful. But also, when you're sitting on a stage with these gentlemen, it may be difficult to cultivate the confidence that, you know, I belong here, I belong in this stage. How are you thinking about that as a young, up-and-coming hopeful in the sport about, you know, how are you building that confidence in yourself as an athlete?
Yeah, I'm definitely a little starstruck being up here and, just realizing that I haven't made a name for myself in this sport yet, but I think it's important for me to be patient with myself and realize that maybe I won't come and take the whole sport like right from the beginning and give myself years to kind of learn and figure things out, make a lot of mistakes, fail, because there's a lot of things I don't know, and it's exciting for me to be able to see a future of a lot of stumbling and maybe getting it right sometimes, but not always hitting it out of the park because it's not that easy, I don't think. So, yeah.
Definitely not easy. So maybe I'll toss one up and we can go down the line here and see if you guys can provide some great insights here for the crowd. Ryan just mentioned making mistakes, right? And it's kind of a beautiful and unfortunate thing that it happens, but we learn from them. Maybe if you all want to provide an example of a mistake that you've made in your career, what you learned from it, and how you're going to avoid it out on the race course tomorrow. Whoever wants to take it first. Ryan, you could start on the other end if you want.
I just think of I ran Speed Goat this last summer, and it was my second trail race, ultra trail race, and my fueling wasn't the best. Like I like ate jelly beans and popsicles the whole race, and I figured out very quickly that doesn't work for me. And I ended up just like walking the last like 15, 20 miles. So I will definitely try to fuel a lot better tomorrow. But yeah.
I think that a mistake that I've made numerous times is just when I'm ready to make a move, just turning the light switch on instead of turning a dial. So I think that just in the future, you know, and I've tried to work on this, and it would be my advice for anybody that's ready to start moving. Don't just, you know, go from 0 to 60 or 100 miles per hour all at once. Just turn that speed up slow on a dial and, you know, get into a groove that way.
I think the biggest mistake I've made is not expecting adversity in an ultra. It's going to come at one point or another. And you hope for the best. You hope for that, but you plan for the adversity. What are you going to do physically, mentally, emotionally, nutritionally when that time comes out there? And so, you know, the more experience you get, you learn when all these different types of adversity come, how do you handle it in the middle of an ultra?
I think always just having when things go bad, just having that plan B is the main thing. You're gonna you may feel it was something the whole time throughout the whole training block, but as soon as that thing doesn't taste good or your stomach doesn't want it, I guess that plan B is you just got to be okay with plan B and try new things and know that might be better than even what you expected. Not everything, you can't plan for everything, and so just that plan B is what I would always kind of rely on.
And I think for me, it's just being patient. Like, it's a long day. You're not going to win the race in the first half, but you're going to lose it. And it's having that ability to feel comfortable and to stay patient and to see what's going on around you, and then to make that decision, right, it's time to go, or I'm going to follow this break, or actually I'm just going to stick with it. So yeah, not necessarily sticking to your guns, but just being patient and looking what's around you, and then making that decision, which it goes wrong more times than it goes right. But yeah, that's pretty my main one.
Beautiful. Great answers, everybody. Final one before we open it up to the audience. We all know it's a team effort to get ourselves to the start line. I'd love if you would each just shout out one person or a group of people who you've got in your corner who help you in this journey as being professional athletes in our sport.
For me, out here, Cordis and Abby Hall, who are my Flagstaff family, who are going to be crewing me tomorrow, who I've been living with for the last month.
It's just my wife. That's it. Katie Spencer, right there. Everybody could look. No, she just is always wanting me to do more than sometimes I feel like I need to do. There's things I need to do that I don't want to because I might not want to go down south for a weekend and not be with my family, but she kind of pushes me out the door to go do it. So, yeah, 100% my wife.
Yeah, and I have three that immediately come to mind. Is my wife, Lacey, just couldn't do it without her and her support with our family. My coach, David Roche, just totally supportive and always listening to me. And then my good friend and body massage artist, Dale Londos, who pulls me into his studio anytime I ask. So he's great.
Of course, my coaches and most importantly, my wife over there, Jocelyn. She's always been my crew captain and has always helped me, keep pushing through when I wanted to quit or wasn't feeling too well.
Yeah, kind of echo what these guys say. My wife, right here in the second row, my 8-month-old baby definitely would not be here without their support, and also my coach Joe McConaughey, the string bean, if you guys know who that is. He's been great. Just started working with him in January, but he's gotten me feeling really ready for this race. So.
Thank goodness for wives and coaches. Big round of applause for our elite men's panel here today. Thanks everyone for being here live and in person. Broadcast starts at 6 a.m. Oh, sorry, audience questions. Apologies for that. Any questions from the crowd? Few minutes with the guys? It's got to be one or two. Go for it. The question is about time management, how you balance everything. Whoever wants to take it.
Ton of planning. Thinking a couple days in advance. Again, having a wife that's supportive enough to allow me to do it. Like I said, I don't hit the trails always like I would like to, but I'm fortunate enough to have a job where I could run commute. And on my aerobic days, that's why you don't see my Strava too much, because I don't think you want to see me running to work and back all the time. Maybe people do, I guess, but from what I've been told. But just a ton of planning days in advance, or days or a week in advance. Even if sometimes you like doing things on the fly.
Yeah, I would say daycare for my two kids and family. So right now we don't have our 6-month-old in daycare, but my mom comes over a few days per week to watch him. And then our 2.5-year-old, 5 days per week, we got people that we trust and can send him to, and he can learn and have great experiences there, and gives my wife and I time to work and train and do all of the stuff we want to do too. So that makes a really big difference.
Any other questions from the audience? Go ahead. Question for Tom Evans. How did it feel to beat Arizona's own Jim Walmsley at UTMB?
I'm really close with Jim, and I lived with him up here in 2018 for a little bit. Jim is a sort of racer who will go out hard the whole time, and for me, it's incredibly motivating. And yeah, a lot of the time it doesn't work, but when it works, it's great. And for the whole time running around UTMB, I was with another American, Zach Miller, and we were being told, oh, Jim's only 5 minutes ahead, he looks terrible. And then 5 minutes later, you see someone else say, oh no, Jim's 15 minutes ahead and he looks amazing. So we were just thinking like, oh, geez, what on earth is going on? And it was only when I got to the final aid station with about 10 miles to go that my crew said, actually, he's not looking great. You can catch him. So I went seriously hard, and I probably went a little bit too hard in the first 3 miles, and then I saw Jim, and I sort of took maybe 2 or 3 minutes to walk and just really compose myself. So when I went past him, he didn't get a second wave, but gee, I was running scared the whole time. I've run with Jim a lot, and I don't know anyone who can come back from the dead so many times in one race. So yeah, I wanted to make the pass and just go hard, and yeah, I was scared until I crossed the line. I didn't know I was going to finish there. So no, I'm excited to see what he does at UTMB this year. Yeah, surely an American's got to win it soon.
Appreciate the support. And if you haven't seen the video of Tom passing Jim on the UTMB course, it's like the perfect quintessential example of trail culture, of Tom coming and passing Jim to secure a podium performance at UTMB, and Jim being the gracious champion that he is, congratulating you as you made the pass. So amazing stuff. Any other questions for our group up here before we wrap up? All right. Oh, go ahead.
Western States.
Probably Moab Trail Marathon.
Man, that's a good question. Gorge Waterfalls 50K.
Western States or Javelina was wonderful as well.
I haven't done a lot of these yet, but I'd probably have to say either Colossal Vale 50, or if we can go back to college, the NCAA championships would be a great race.
Great. We'll make that the last one. Thank you all again so much for being here. Thanks for everybody watching online. Broadcast starts at 6 a.m. 6 a.m. broadcast tomorrow. Good luck to everybody in the crowd who's racing tomorrow. Go get them.